March 17, 1962, 2:47 a.m., over the frostbitten forests of East Germany. The moon hangs thin and cold, a pale silver sliver reflected in the frozen puddles along the winding dirt road below. A single C-130 Hercules hums quietly at 12,000 feet, its navigation lights dimmed, painting faint green glows against the cockpit's instrument panels. Inside, Major Thomas Hawk Sullivan of the CIA adjusts his oxygen mask, feeling the chill seep through the canvas of his flight suit. Next to him, Sergeant Alan Greaves checks the Halo rig one last time, fingers steady despite the adrenaline pumping through his veins. Below, the dense canopy of pine trees stretches endlessly, dark and unyielding. Any misstep here, any miscalculation in the jump, and they would vanish silently into the landscape, deep inside Soviet-controlled territory. Hawk's eyes flick to the altimeter, then to the drop zone coordinates blinking steadily on the wrist-mounted device. Silence falls over the aircraft save for the soft hiss of oxygen and the occasional click of a harness buckle. The jumpmaster, Lieutenant Richard Rook Daniels, leans close to each operative in turn, his breath misting in the frigid air. This is it. 6 clicks north of the railway junction. Avoid the patrols. Stick to the tree line. In and out. No traces. His voice is steady, but you can almost taste the tension in it, thick as the metal hull around them. Hawk feels the familiar surge of anticipation. Years of training, months of planning, have led to this exact second. In a compartment behind the cockpit, the rest of the insertion team murmurs quiet prayers, double-checking radios, knives, and concealed camera equipment designed to capture every fragment of Soviet activity. The target, a remote communications hub that had gone silent weeks prior, leaving intelligence teams guessing and jittery. 5, 4, 3, the countdown begins. The jump door groans open, letting in a gust of frozen wind that stabs at exposed skin. In that moment, time dilates. The roar of the outside world, the dark expanse of the forest, the distant twinkle of Soviet searchlights, all converge into a single, electric clarity. One by one, Hawk, Greaves, and the others slip into the night, bodies slicing through the frigid air. The sensation is equal parts terror and liberation. Below, the forest floor approaches with terrifying speed. The parachutes deploy with a sharp, snapping crack, the cords vibrating in your palms as you drift down silently, shadows among shadows. Landing is brutal on frozen earth and hidden roots, but precise. The team regroups instantly, checking each other for injuries, adjusting comms, and scanning the horizon. A distant bark of a dog echoes in the valley, a reminder that they are not invisible. Hawk signals forward with a clenched fist. No words. Just movement. The mission has begun. Every step now carries the weight of exposure. Every sound, crunching snow, snapping twigs, could betray them. Ahead, the hub's outline appears, faint through the morning fog, a squat concrete building topped with a rusted antenna, dark windows staring blankly into the forest. Hawk gestures. The team fans out, slipping through underbrush and camouflage trenches. Inside, they must plant listening devices, retrieve encrypted documents, and vanish before sunrise. Failure is not an option. Capture could mean torture, compromise of entire operations, and a diplomatic crisis that would echo back to Washington. The wind carries a whisper, brushing against faces and ears. The Cold War is alive tonight, and the stakes are as real as the frozen earth beneath their boots. The forest swallows them as Hawk leads the team toward the hub, each step muffled by layers of frost and pine needles. Dawn has not yet broken, but a gray light filters through the trees, revealing a landscape both beautiful and hostile. Jagged branches coated with ice, rocks slick with frost, and the faintest hint of smoke curling from a distant farmhouse. Hawk's breath steams in the cold as he signals the team to split into 2 units, one to breach the building, the other to establish perimeter overwatch. Sergeant Greaves kneels behind a fallen log, adjusting a miniature camera they had smuggled across the border in a false bottom pack. Its lens is trained on the hub's main entrance, recording every flicker of movement. No patrols yet, he whispers into the comm, voice almost lost in the whispering wind. Hawk's hand taps twice against his chest, confirmation. They move with the rhythm of trained ghosts. The lock on the side door, a heavy steel affair, gives way to a discreet touch of Hawk's electronic bypass kit. The team slips inside, immediately swallowed by darkness. The smell of damp concrete, grease, and faint smoke hits Hawk's nostrils, a harsh reminder that these walls had seen years of Cold War paranoia. Inside, the room is a shrine to surveillance. Racks of blinking lights, reels of magnetic tape, and tangled wires crisscrossing the ceiling. Hawk kneels beside a terminal, fingers dancing over the keys to extract encrypted transmissions stored over the past month. Each click of the keyboard echoes through the otherwise silent room, like a staccato heartbeat in the belly of a lion. Outside, Lieutenant Daniels keeps watch. His binoculars sweep the tree line with meticulous patience. Every movement is catalogued, every shadow assessed. A fox darts across the clearing, and he barely flinches. But seconds later, a distant engine hum penetrates the forest, a Soviet patrol truck. His fingers tighten around the silenced pistol at his side. Hawk hears the faint signal through the earpiece, a soft, rapid tap, Greaves reporting a breach in security. Hawk freezes. Every instinct screams caution. The patrol truck stops near the fence, headlights cutting through the fog. Sweat beads on Hawk's brow beneath the mask, despite the cold. The team had practiced this exact scenario a dozen times in Virginia, but now it's real, and danger tastes sharp in the throat. Do it, Hawk murmurs. With precision born from countless hours of clandestine operations, Greaves triggers a small electromagnetic pulse device, shorting the hub's exterior surveillance cameras. Lights flicker, alarms hum weakly, then die. The patrol truck's engine coughs in confusion. Hawk and his team move like shadows along the wall, sliding past the weakened gate, planting micro-listening devices on the antennas. Every movement is calculated, there is no room for error. Minutes stretch, tense and electric. Hawk retrieves a set of classified documents from a filing cabinet labeled in Cyrillic. The papers are brittle, heavy with ink and implication. Names, locations, schedules, intelligence that could tip entire Cold War operations in favor of the CIA if extracted successfully. He rolls the documents into a waterproof tube, straps it to his chest. One mistake here could unravel years of planning. Outside, the patrol truck lumbers forward again, searching. Hawk signals the team to retreat, moving through a hidden tunnel beneath the hub's floor that leads to a pre-mapped exit in the forest. Every footfall is measured. Every breath is held when a soldier's boot cracks a branch above them. By the time the first rays of sunlight pierce the tree line, the team has vanished into the frostbitten forest. The hub is left intact, except for their silent marks of intrusion, and the patrols are none the wiser. The documents, devices, and intelligence are theirs, proof that the Cold War is fought not with grand battles, but with invisible maneuvers and nerves of steel. March 17, 1962, 5:12 a.m., deep in the East German forest. The first pale light of dawn glints off the frost-coated needles as Hawk and his team move with silent urgency. Every crunch of ice beneath boots feels amplified in the cold morning air. Hawk's eyes flick to the compass taped to his wrist, then to the faintly marked clearing where the extraction vehicle waits. A Soviet Mi-4 helicopter patrol is expected over the area at 6 o'clock, and the margin for error is narrow. Lieutenant Daniels scouts ahead, scanning the forest edge with binoculars. 2 clicks to the east. Clear for now, he whispers into the comm. Hawk nods, adjusting the strap of his pack that holds the encrypted documents. Sergeant Greaves checks the micro-listening devices one last time before sliding them into camouflaged pouches sewn into his suit. Every piece of equipment must make it out intact. Failure here would not only jeopardize the mission but risk months of intelligence gathering. Suddenly, a distant bark, a guard dog. Hawk freezes mid-step, chest tightening. Through the mist, a Soviet soldier rounds the bend on patrol, rifle slung carelessly but eyes sharp. Daniels signals, low and slow. The team presses against the trees, blending into the shadows like smoke. Hawk counts silently, heart hammering. 1, 2, 3, the soldier passes, oblivious. They exhale collectively but remain tense, knowing they are only halfway through the extraction. The clearing appears, a frozen meadow encircled by birch and pine. In its center, a black GAZ-69 Jeep waits, engine quietly idling. Hawk gestures for the team to move quickly. As they break into the open, a distant engine growl shatters the fragile calm. A Soviet patrol truck emerges from a side road, headlights cutting through the fog. The team hits the ground, rolled behind low rises of snow and hidden depressions in the terrain. Bullets ricochet off ice and bark as the patrol fires warning shots, their voices sharp in the cold air. Hawk pulls a compact smoke grenade from his pack, hissing quietly as he primes it. With a soft thump, it lands between the patrol truck and the Jeep. A thick cloud of white smoke swells instantly, swallowing the clearing. Through the haze, the team moves with lethal precision. Daniels takes the lead, covering their advance with a silenced pistol while Greaves and Hawk drag the documents and equipment to the Jeep. The Soviet truck hesitates, engine sputtering in the smoke. Hawk counts, 1, 2, 3, and the team leaps into the vehicle. Daniels floors the accelerator. Snow sprays as the Jeep slides across the frozen field, smoke curling around them like a protective veil. Behind, The patrol vehicle struggles to maintain course, disappearing into the mist, leaving only muffled shouts in its wake. As they race along the hidden forest track, Hawk allows himself a brief glance at the documents strapped to his chest. The knowledge contained within could shift Cold War operations, giving the CIA an unseen edge in the shadow conflict. But there is no time for reflection, every second is measured, every turn critical. The forest narrows, trees brushing against the jeep as if testing their resolve. Hawk's hands grip the wheel, knuckles white, eyes scanning for ambushes, tripwires, anything that might spell disaster. The extraction point, a river crossing known only to their intelligence, appears ahead. A small, camouflaged boat waits. Hawk signals, and the team transitions from land to water in silence. The chill of the river bites through clothing, but they move quickly, paddles slicing the icy current. Behind them, the forest recedes, patrols frustrated, the hub now safely behind enemy lines. For Hawk, Daniels, and Greaves, there is no victory cheer. Only the quiet satisfaction that comes from completing the impossible. In the murky gray of dawn, the Cold War continues to rage, unseen by the world, fought by shadows, and won or lost by men willing to risk everything for a mission that may never be publicly acknowledged. March 17, 1962, 7:45 a.m., a nondescript safe house on the outskirts of West Berlin. The morning fog drifts through narrow alleyways, wrapping the city in a gray, deceptive calm. Inside, Hawk, Greaves, and Daniel step quietly over a scratched wooden threshold. The room is sparse, a single table, 2 chairs, and a battered radio transmitter humming softly in the corner. Every object has been placed with purpose. This is where raw intelligence transforms into actionable insight. Hawk sets the waterproof tube on the table, carefully rolling it open. The documents are brittle, their ink slightly smeared from the damp forest, but intact. He lays them out, fingers tracing lines of Cyrillic text that map troop movements, encrypted communication schedules, and covert Soviet operations across Eastern Europe. Greaves begins the meticulous process of photographing each page with a concealed microfilm camera, ensuring digital copies exist should anything go wrong. Daniels tunes the radio, adjusting frequencies to send coded signals to CIA analysts in Langley. Each transmission is brief, precise, and fragmented to avoid detection. Hawk watches, calculating timing, aware that a single misstep could trigger Soviet triangulation. Outside, the city hums as if oblivious to the invisible war raging in these quiet rooms, unaware that the balance of intelligence could shift dramatically before nightfall. Hours pass in focused silence. Hawk's eyes scan the decrypted pages, linking locations, contacts, and operational anomalies. Each revelation carries weight: a hidden supply depot near Leipzig, a covert communications relay disguised as a civilian office, schedules of high-ranking Soviet officers' movements. Every detail is a potential leverage point for the West, a thread in the vast tapestry of espionage. A sudden knock at the door jolts the team. Hawk freezes, signaling immediate silence. The knock is deliberate, calculated. He gestures to Daniels, who cautiously peers through the peephole. Outside stands a courier, dressed as a street cleaner, carrying a package that holds the next set of encryption keys, small, metal, nondescript, but deadly important. Hawk opens the door only enough to exchange a nod and the keys. The courier vanishes into the fog as silently as he appeared. With the new codes, the team begins decrypting the intercepted communications from the hub. Lines of garbled Cyrillic transform into precise intelligence, troop rotations, planned equipment movements, and notes on ongoing counterintelligence operations. Hawk leans back for a moment, tasting the satisfaction that comes from turning risk into results. Yet there is no celebration. Each success is a reminder that the Cold War is a constant chess game, where a single misstep can undo months of careful planning. As the sun rises higher over Berlin, casting the city in weak gold light, the team prepares the intelligence for secure transport. Microfilm, micro-listening devices, and the original documents are packed meticulously, ready for extraction to Langley. Outside, the streets are waking, children scattering along cobblestones, trams rattling past. But within these walls, history is being quietly rewritten by shadows who will never appear in the headlines. March 17, 1962, 11:30 a.m., aboard a secure West Berlin airstrip. The fog has lifted, revealing a stretch of tarmac glinting under weak winter sun. A CIA-configured C-47 Dakota waits at the edge, its engine humming like a dormant beast, ready to carry the team and their treasure trove of intelligence across the divided continent. Hawk, Greaves, and Daniels move with precise choreography, each step rehearsed, each breath measured. The team boards the aircraft, checking harnesses and radio comms one last time. Hawk watches as the documents, microfilm, and listening devices are loaded into reinforced crates. Every item is catalogued, tagged, and secured, their importance unspoken but understood. A misstep in transport could compromise not only this operation but countless others across Europe. The pilot, a veteran of dozens of clandestine operations, gives a curt nod. "Clear for takeoff," he murmurs. Hawk glances at the horizon, noting the distant hum of a Soviet radar installation. Time is a thin thread, and any delay could unravel everything. As the Dakota taxis down the runway, Hawk's mind drifts briefly to the forest, to the frost-coated hub, to the patrol trucks and barking dogs. Each moment, each decision, had been a razor's edge between success and capture. Now, soaring above the divided landscape, the weight of that tension finally eases. Inside the cabin, Daniels keeps watch over the crates, fingers resting lightly on his sidearm. Greaves monitors the radio, ready to intercept any signals or attempts to track them. Hawk leans back, eyes scanning the sky through a small porthole. The sun reflects off distant rivers and frozen lakes, silver streaks in a world oblivious to the invisible battles waged just below. Minutes pass like hours. The Dakota climbs, leaving East Germany behind, the Iron Curtain's shadow fading into memory. Hawk allows himself a quiet acknowledgement. The mission was flawless, executed with precision, courage, and the cold discipline that defines the silent wars fought in shadow. By the time they land in West Germany, intelligence teams are ready. Documents are transferred, microfilm duplicated, listening devices catalogued. Each piece of data is immediately analyzed, feeding the vast network of information that will shape Cold War strategies for months to come. Hawk and his team are ghosts in the process, essential, yet invisible. Their names will never appear in headlines. The world will remain unaware of the dangers they navigated, the patrols evaded, the frozen forests crossed. Back at headquarters, analysts pore over the extracted intelligence, connecting dots that were previously invisible. Hawk watches quietly, knowing the Cold War will never be won in open battle alone. It is a war of shadows, whispers, and invisible hands. And tonight, they had been the unseen edge that could tip the balance. The team disbands quietly, each operative slipping into anonymity. Outside, Berlin hums with life, blind to the risks endured in its name. Hawk steps onto the street, winter air biting at his face, and allows a rare smile. Not for glory, there will be none, but for survival, for the mission accomplished, for another unseen victory in a war that never ends.